I need to talk about something that goes deeper than server populations and court rulings. Over the past 2 weeks, I've read hundreds of comments across my videos. Some angry, some excited, some heartbroken. And underneath all of it, there's a feeling that I think a lot of us share but haven't really put into words yet. Something we love is being taken away from us, and the people taking it aren't the ones who built it.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
You think you do, but you don't. Changed into, you think you don't, but you do.
After playing every expansion, considerable amounts, I think in terms of the MMO feel, I think Classic Era has done it best. I think Classic Era is overall the best, maybe ever, a video game has done at cultivating the MMO feeling, the community aspect, just the, you know what I mean? It's timeless, man. It's crazy.
One of my thoughts on Classic so far, it's comfortable. It's cozy. I think people very much overlook how much of a cozy MMO it is.
Oh, brother, this is one of the greatest games of all time. So I don't know what you're talking about. All right, buddy? What do you mean the gaming slump? This game has transcended time, brother. What do you mean? The slump. This is the game. When this game was peak WoW, people were missing very important life-changing events for World of Warcraft. Wasn't there a guy that missed the birth of his child to be in a raid?
World of Warcraft launched in 2004, and the people who made it weren't building a product. They were building a world. They played it themselves day and night. They argued about quest design over pizza at 3 in the morning. They hand-placed every tree in Ashenvale, every torch in Stormwind, every grave in Duskwood. They made something that wasn't focus-tested or data-driven or optimized for quarterly earnings. They made something they loved, and it was imperfectly perfect in almost every way. The spells were unbalanced. The grind was brutal. You could walk for 20 minutes and find nothing but empty hills and a single quest giver with a story nobody asked for, but everyone remembers. There was no dungeon finder, no transmog, no minimap arrow telling you exactly where to go. You had to read. You had to ask. You had to talk to the person standing next to you because you literally could not do it alone. And that friction, that inconvenience, that beautiful stubborn refusal to make things easy, that's what built the communities we're still chasing 20 years later. You didn't just play WoW, you lived in it. You had a server identity, a guild reputation, a rival on the other faction whose name you knew by heart. The world was slow and awkward and magical in a way that no modern game has been able to replicate. Not because the technology isn't there, but because the philosophy is gone. The people who built that world left, one by one over the years. The original developers moved on, and the company they left behind became something else. Activision happened, Microsoft happened, shareholders happened, and the game changed, not all at once. Slowly, patch by patch, expansion by expansion, until the thing we loved was still called World of Warcraft, but didn't feel like it anymore. And so people did what people always do when they lose something they love. They tried to rebuild it. Nostalrius, Elysium, Light's Hope, Chronos, Turtle WoW, Project Epoch, Stormforge. Hundreds of servers built by volunteers, maintained by passion, played by people who just wanted to go home. These weren't pirates, these weren't thieves, these were fans, people who loved a version of a game that the company who owns it refused to offer. They didn't do it for money, most of them lost money. They did it because that world mattered to them, and they weren't ready to let it die. And now in 2026, Blizzard is shutting them down, all of them. Turtle WoW, a project that ran for 8 years, that built an entire fan expansion, that had 44,000 players, hit with a permanent injunction. The team that poured years of their lives into it, ordered to stop. Forever, no successors, no reboots, nothing. Everlook, gone. Project Epoch's original developers, forced to walk away from the thing they spent years building. And just yesterday, Stormforge, another cease and desist, closing by May 14th, 4 major projects in under a year. This isn't one-offs anymore, they're going down the list. And then today, Turtle WoW finally broke their silence. After weeks of the community begging for answers, for clarity, for anything, they posted a message. And it wasn't angry, it wasn't defiant, it was a goodbye. They say it's the journey, not the destination. How long must a journey last to be remembered fondly and warmly? We don't know. We only know that ours is coming to an end. May 14th, servers go dark at midnight. After 8 years, it's over. They're pushing all realms to the final progression patch immediately so players can experience the last raids before the lights go off. Donations are permanently disabled. The website, the forums, the social media, all of it closes in October. And the way they chose to say it, no bitterness, no blame, no fight left in the words, just gratitude. Working on Turtle WoW has been the highlight of our lives. That's what they said, the highlight of their lives. A project they built for free for 8 years that a billion-dollar corporation just told them to stop making. That's not how a pirate talks. That's not how a thief talks. That's how someone talks when they loved something and had to let it go. And here's what scares people. I've read it in comment after comment and I feel it too. It's not just that the servers are going down. It's that the version of WoW we love is being held hostage by a corporation that didn't build it. A company that bought its way into ownership is telling us we can't play the game we grew up with, not their version of it, not the modern version, the old one, the one their own employees don't even understand anymore. And what kills me is that it doesn't have to be this way. Other companies looked at their communities doing the exact same thing and made a completely different choice. Dota started as a mod for Warcraft 3, a Blizzard game. Fans built it, and Blizzard let it slip through their fingers because they didn't see the value. Valve did. Now it's a billion-dollar franchise. Counter-Strike, same story. A Half-Life mod that Valve embraced, hired the creators, and turned into one of the biggest shooters ever made. Bethesda has built their entire identity around modding. Skyrim has survived for over a decade because the community keeps rebuilding it, and Bethesda not only allows it, they give people the tools to do it. Even Microsoft, the same Microsoft that now owns Blizzard, lets Minecraft's modding community thrive. They got it. Letting your community build on top of your game doesn't kill the game, it keeps it alive. And then there's the most painful example of all. Old School RuneScape exists because Jagex listened to their community. Players said, we want the old version back, and instead of suing them, Jagex built it, officially. With community polls deciding every major update. That game is thriving in 2026 because the company chose to work with its players instead of against them. Blizzard could have done any of this. They could have licensed fan servers. They could have hired the Turtle WoW team, people who clearly understand Classic better than most of the current Blizzard staff. They could have created an official framework for community-driven content. Instead, they chose lawsuits. The leaks about Blizzard's Classic Plus talk about battle passes, seasonal content, more ways to pay on top of a subscription you're already paying. The same thinking that turned retail WoW into something half the community walked away from now pointed at the one version of the game people were trying to protect. And here's the thing people keep saying in the comments, and they're right, look at every version of WoW that Blizzard runs right now, every single one, riddled with bots, overrun with real money trading, character boosts available in the shop, WoW tokens letting people buy gold with their credit card, all of it on top of a monthly subscription you're already paying. That's not ancient history, that's right now. That's the game they're telling us to come play instead. The private servers they're shutting down, most of them actively banned bots. Most of them had GMs who responded within minutes. Most of them had zero tolerance for RMT. Those communities kept their game clean because they actually gave a damn. And now those servers are being replaced by a company that will let anything slide as long as the sub money keeps coming in. So when people say, I'll just wait for Blizzard's Classic Plus, a lot of us hear that and think, yeah, and it'll come with everything that killed our love for the game in the first place. A $15 a month subscription to play alongside bots and boosters in a world where gold means nothing because anyone can buy it. That's not Classic Plus, that's retail with a vanilla skin. I've read comments from people saying they'll never give Blizzard another dollar. That if Turtle goes down, they're done with WoW forever, not because they don't love the game, because they love it too much to watch it become something it was never meant to be. And the worst part, some of them mean it. Some of the most passionate, dedicated WoW players I've ever seen in 20 years of this game are ready to walk away, not from Azeroth, from the company that owns Azeroth. But here's what Blizzard can't shut down, and I need you to hear this. They can shut down servers, they can file injunctions, they can send cease and desist letters to every developer on the planet, but they cannot kill what this community built. The friendships you made in Baron's chat at 2 in the morning, those are real. The guild that carried you through your first Molten Core clear, those people exist. The stranger who traded you a set of bags in the starting zone on a private server because they remembered what it felt like to be new. That moment happened. This past week, I watched 200 players on a server that everyone had written off organize a re-release. Not the developers, the players. They rolled new characters, they handed out gear, they stood in starting zones and welcomed strangers. They did it because they believed in something and they wanted other people to believe in it too. That's not a product, that's not a service, that's a community. And no court ruling in the world can take that away. I think what this community wants is actually very simple. And I think Blizzard knows it. We want the game we grew up with, maintained, respected, with new content that understands why we loved it in the first place, not reinvented, not monetized into something unrecognizable. Just continued the way the original developers would have done it if they'd stayed. That's it, that's the whole ask. And the fact that thousands of people tried to build it themselves for free for years should tell Blizzard everything they need to know. The demand is screaming at them. The question is whether they're listening, or whether they're just clearing the competition before selling us something we didn't ask for. I want to say something directly to the people who built these servers. Turtle WoW, Epoch, Stormforge, Nostalrius, all of you. You gave people a home in a time when the company that owns this game had forgotten what made it special. You remembered. You spent your nights and weekends building something you believed in. You dealt with server crashes, legal threats, community drama, and burnout, and you did it because you loved this world as much as we do. Some of you had to walk away. Some of you are being forced to walk away right now. And I know that hurts in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who hasn't poured years of their life into something only to have it taken. But I want you to know what you built mattered. The experiences you gave people were real. The communities you created are still here. And the standard you set for what Classic Plus can be is now the bar that Blizzard has to clear. You didn't fail, you proved the concept. And if Blizzard ever does build Classic Plus, it will exist because you showed them it was worth building. I don't know what happens next. Maybe Blizzard announces Classic Plus at BlizzCon in September and it's everything we've been hoping for. Maybe it's a Battle Pass nightmare and we all pretend to be surprised. Maybe Epoch keeps growing, maybe something new emerges that none of us saw coming. What I do know is this: the version of World of Warcraft that we fell in love with was built by people who cared more about the world than the bottom line, and the community that formed around it carries that same spirit through every shutdown, through every cease and desist, through every it's over moment that turned out to be a we go again moment. They can take down the servers, they can't take down what we built on them. If you're out there right now looking for a place to play, feeling like the ground keeps shifting under your feet, I get it, we all do. But the community isn't going anywhere. We've survived worse than this, and we'll find each other again. We always do. Thank you for watching, thank you for caring about this game as much as I do, and thank you to every single person who made these places feel like home. I'll see you in Azeroth, wherever that ends up being.